Or 454 if you really want to,
You want to do some damage.
Cheap heap, every valve rattles, oil leaks every time.
Alright guys, what's happening? Come back at you with another episode.
Once again.
I'm Blaze.
Squirrel.
We're going to start by answering the question last time. So the question was, how do we make our country more self-sufficient? Jordan, would you like to answer that?
Yeah. Well, I think first and foremost, for any country to be self-sufficient, they cannot have an exorbitant. They can't have a massive debt. Something our country has been in since the American Revolution,
which has grown non-stop.
Yeah. Yeah. How much did we owe France again? A lot.
Probably in today's money, billions.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, I don't know if we still owe them because I haven't. Look,
I don't know.
I
don't know if they still owe them or not, but I know we owe a lot. We're like 21 trillion now.
Yeah.
Something like that. That's way too much.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's like step one. Like, you can't have that massive debt because you can't be self-sufficient when you owe everybody else for everything.
Yes.
So, that, and you actually have to make your own stuff. Like, you have to take over production of your own things. Because if you outsource everything, you can't provide for yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Alright, and then there's a final step, or is that it?
Those are the two major ones right there. Like, because the debt thing also, then also, economy. Like, you actually have to have a stable economy with which to run things. If your economy is not stable, you're going to collapse on itself. There was a place that happened to. I think it started with an R, and it was an E.
Oh, are you talking Rome?
Yeah! That place that, had that very thing happen. And,
when they're sitting in the circus and then they get surrounded by all the other countries that are like, hey, we're taking over. And they're like, no, we're not. No, you're not. This is Rome.
Well, they fell in two halves. One half, they don't really exactly know what happened. The other half, economical ruin, just folded in on itself.
Yeah.
Destroyed.
I mean, if you read up on the fall of Rome, a lot of what's going on in America follows that same path.
Mm-hmm.
It does. But
civilizations have come, civilizations have gone.
Yeah, I mean, because we're still young as a country.
Yes.
We're still relatively young, but yeah, we got a big name. Yeah, we got a big, stamp on our forehead. Yeah,
we're the new kids on the block, basically. Like, we're the youngest country.
Yeah, yeah. There's a few that have came after, but they've been there and they've just become something else.
Yeah. But
to answer on my path, I'm gonna say definitely we're gonna go along with the manufacturing part. You need to open them up, start employing people, giving them a wage through that, and make people want to work there so it runs efficiently. All right. So that's your first step. Step 2 is now we're gonna cut the cost of oil because we're paying like $80-something a barrel, and I'm not exactly sure on the number of how many barrels the U.S. buys. But with everybody owning gas vehicles, you gotta change the oil in your car. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna assume a lot. So we open the oil in America, which we can now get for like $20-something a barrel. And we have enough in the reserves that are capped as we speak. We have more there than we have in all the Middle East has or could gather in the next 2 years. Their process to get that oil is so much harder. That's why it's so much more expensive. But then, the last and final step, we're gonna bump the value of our money up. So what you do, since we've been collecting copper for many years now, because it's been out of circulation in pipes and all the housing and whatnot, still use it for wiring, but doesn't consume that much. So we start minting the pennies out of pure copper again, and we go, this is the new penny, which will then bump the value of the nickels up, the dimes, the quarters. Then it goes into the bills. So now our currency is more valued because it's scarce. Again, that's how you build value. How scarce is it?
Yeah. I think part of the problem is also that America has this thing of, especially when like credit cards came along, let me buy everything with money I don't have.
Right, and then pay it off.
And then half the time it's like, well, it turns out I don't have that. Like you have to have a good credit score to get anything on credit anymore, but apparently it doesn't count for an entire country.
I mean, I guess not for us now, because it looks like we're going to follow in the same path of the 2008 crash. Like, the only reason that it hasn't crashed today is because the Fed's keeping it up. The Fed is like giving the money into it so it doesn't crash. But in turn, it's screwing us, the people.
Well, I think they just stopped printing money for a while. Just like shut down the printing presses, let what you got circulate.
Oh, so now you want to make California have a fit because you're not getting their state funding because they've been in a deficit for the past 20 years, if not 30.
But the thing is, if you stop printing the money, the value starts to go up.
Well, yes.
Which means that, okay, you can get your government funding, but now since the dollar is worth more, it doesn't cost as much to provide that funding.
You would think. But them people out in California,
if you own it, it causes cancer. Just saying.
Yeah, exactly. But that would value our money more, I would think. Even if you made it quarters out of silver again.
Yeah.
It's something. Make it pure, and our value would be so much better. All right, but speaking of money, did you hear that the Chicago Mercantile Bank or company, I forget what it's called, moved out of Chicago into Miami, being the last northern big funding company to move into the South?
Wow, yeah, I think the first time I really heard of it was you mentioned it earlier, but yeah.
Now,
it's,
where do you think that will bring us socially? Having all of these big banks that give into not only government funding, but they fund a lot, and they give into the people. So where do you think that will bring us socially and politically?
That's kind of hard to say, because it also depends then on like where the banks place where they throw their chips in. I mean, because yes, they may have these places have moved out of the north and stuff, but it's kind of hard to say because you don't know, are they gonna start paying more attention to the places where they're at, or are they gonna keep sticking to, or are they gonna basically kind of have a loyalty to where they came from, or
well, look, they're in the South now. We got Waffle House, homemade gravy, and guns.
The three most important. I was about to say meals of the day, but you can't eat guns.
I mean, yes. Hey, you can make somebody eat lead. But
this is true, but it's not healthy in any capacity.
But I mean, like the South of Waffle House, man, that's crazy. We have a whole weather system about Waffle House.
Yep. If the Waffle House closes down, then things are getting serious.
That's when we need to go up and hurricanes hitting F, or what is it? Is it E?
Yeah, I think
E5.
or hurricanes are E.
And then tornadoes are F. Yep,
yeah,
that's right. So yeah, we got E5 hurricane coming in. The Waffle House shut down. We got to get to like Indiana or something, guys. Let's go.
Yeah, I think there was a video I saw. This guy posted in the South, and this guy told me, there's this big storm coming. I was like, okay, yeah. And then they give it all this stuff, and he says, the Waffle House closed down. Next thing you see, he's got a suitcase. Why didn't you start with that? Let's get out of here.
We got to go. We got to get the hell out of Dodge.
Waffle House is closed. For those of you who aren't in the South, they'll probably see this. Waffle House is closed.
run.
Yes, it's time to
Opposite
run.
direction.
Yes.
Because they are open all the time.
If the Waffle House employees are running, follow them. They know what's coming.
And yes, Waffle House does have its people. They got them workers that, you got some that are nice, and then you got some that are like, where have you been the past 20 years? Because you look like you got drugged behind a bus, a horse, hit a cactus on the way.
A horse-drawn car.
Right.
So
I mean, it's bad. And some of them ain't got no teeth. That's like Golden Corral. I don't know how far across the United States that goes, but that is another one where you will see every type of person in there. From the people that are living with millions of dollars to the people that are sitting there waiting 2 hours, sitting in the same booth because they can only they want to pay for one meal and eat twice.
Yep.
And those are the people in America that need to get up. Need to get up, go do something, guys. We gotta provide for the country.
There's a
we can't keep it all on our shoulders.
Oh boy. There's a video where there was a chick who was sitting on an airplane. She took up 2 seats.
Oh, you talking about that video where she's like, "Are you mad that I'm taking up 2 seats?"
And she's like, I'm like, look, if you got the money to pay for those seats, cool. But if we do wreck, you are the cushion everybody else is gonna fall on. Just saying.
Oh my God. Do not get me started on that. We will get canceled in a heartbeat.
Like, that's also 2 seats. Somebody that's actually not that big could be sitting in.
That's gonna throw off the balance of the plane, man. Like, I'm just saying.
And the smaller planes, they actually have to really think about that.
Yeah.
Like, we were on a small prop. There was a prop plane we were on. I think we were going to Pennsylvania or something. There was a prop plane. They actually had to shift to where people were sitting so the plane wouldn't tilt too far away the other.
That right there, that's enough to throw off a plane.
It's being held up by physics of airflow. You don't want to topple that because it's honestly a little bit fragile.
Do you think that they're trying to scare us into not flying with all the things that have been going wrong with the planes?
I don't know. That's one thing because it's still even with the problems that have happened, it's still the safest form of travel.
I mean, it is.
So,
I don't know, man. I'd say train's probably safer. It just might be longer.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I'd feel safe on a train.
Yeah. Yeah, rail. You know where it's going.
Exactly.
It's not like you're gonna suddenly swerve off in another direction because the track is already laid.
Right. I mean, the worst that can happen is like, oh, hey, we got delayed. That they didn't change the track on time, so we went this way instead of that way. It's like, okay, well, no. Longer train ride, whatever. Still safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, I think that could be. There is speculation on it where it could be that they're trying to keep us stationary.
I don't know about that because they are all these planes, they're run by businesses. And I think the planes that have been messing up, you have these businesses that are like, okay, so we've taken a hit in the last couple of years, because people are not flying as often as they used to.
I mean, yeah, ever since one particular incident that I can think of.
Yep.
But.
And so, some of the maintenance on the planes kind of fell behind. Some of the shops might not have been because they weren't needed. Because the planes aren't flying, you don't have to repair the planes. And so now all of the lack of repairs are starting to catch up with some of them. And they're scrambling. They're like, we gotta fix this.
Have you seen the people that there was a video, I can't remember where it was, but they were videoing the people at the airport putting duct tape on the wing?
Mm-hmm.
Now, it could be a joke being played. Could be a joke. But now, if I'm sitting on that plane, I would want to get off.
Yeah.
And also with Boeing, the fact that they can't find the security footage of when the door blew off, of it being touched, messed with, fixed, whatever it could have been, they can find that security footage. It's just gone. It's like the Watergate.
Yeah.
You're telling me that bit of footage is gone from there? All right, Mr. President, I see you. Being a player out here.
footage appears to be missing.
I mean, that's what the Watergate was.
Yeah.
The president was getting slob. That's.
Is that even safe to talk about on YouTube?
Talk about what? I just said slob.
Touche.
That's.
Touche.
But
How to have inappropriate conversations that hopefully,
But going back to the bank, all these big banks here in the South. Do you think that there will be now southern roots tied into that?
For some of them, yes. Because I know something like Wells Fargo, I think it is, takes a lot of pride in like what are traditionally Southern values. Like the company on their statements. I'm not saying it's actual business, actual company practice.
Screw Wells Fargo, man.
But what it started with was like honesty and good service and all this back when that was actually a thing. But it's stuff that their founder said, so they have it plastered everywhere. So even though the founder is now gone,
everything going on with the
values
banks, the banks right now are just it's sketchy. It's really sketchy because we're kind of seeing the same situation from 2008. I was a wee lad. Okay, I'm sorry. I should have been in 3rd grade trying to buy a house, buy land, because that'd have been the time. But
yes, that would have been the time
but
to
no,
become a business mogul before you get out of elementary school.
But no, I'm off over here. I color in between the lines. I can do multiplication. Why did I do that?
Why don't we just get rich? Buy a house.
Why not in 2010 didn't I buy Bitcoin? Oh, because I was in the 5th grade doing 5th grade things.
Yeah, which would have put me high.
I don't know if I was actually in 5th grade in 2010. I was just...
I graduated in 13 from high school, so
I don't know where I was in 2010. Probably around that time, 5th, 6th.
Yeah.
4th to 6th, somewhere in that time period.
Yeah, because you were still in high school when you started working with me.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you left. How dare you?
Hey, gotta see the world.
Yep. Gotta chase those horizons.
We're going to another catastrophe. So you know about the bridge that...
Yes!
The bridge that blew up in Baltimore, or collapsed?
It didn't blow up. It was in... yes. It collapsed because in the video footage you actually see the ship that hit. It lost power like 2 or 3 times. Like the power shut off and the steering was electronic.
Whoa.
And so
stay away from
they
electronics.
got the power back on as fast as they could.
But not fast enough.
Yep. And it was like, okay, power's back on. Oh, it's gone again. Oh. And so it hit. The thing is, my dad has been on that bridge. My dad actually grew up around, like he was born in Massachusetts.
Oh.
So my dad has actually been across that bridge. Like, and he said that he was telling me, like, that's the bridge. Like, that is the bridge that goes down. It's like, that's definitely big news.
Yeah, I mean,
but somewhere the electronics failed on that ship. Somewhere.
What if? Just saying here, speculating.
Yeah. Because
they were trying to rebuild. Because there was also another bridge that kind of collapsed.
Yeah.
Didn't quite make the top feed, but it did collapse.
Yeah. So they had a construction crew on this bridge actively working at the time it went down.
Yes, they were trying. There's some people that says that they were trying to get more funding to strengthen the bridge or build a whole new bridge altogether.
Mm-hmm.
So the best plan of action was to be wreck it, collect the insurance money, build a whole new bridge.
I have to disagree with that.
I mean,
because the amount of materials you're going to take, that it's going to cost to just upgrade the bridge is a lot less than having to pay for the bridge, pay out the insurance for every individual that was on that bridge to their families. because there are still people missing. Now you've got to pay for all of their funerals and stuff because the costs are going to rack up. They're going to add up to way too much, way too fast.
I mean, same situation happened about 13 years ago. Somebody pulled an insurance policy out a couple days before, September, and a terrorist insurance policy at that.
Okay, everything that comes up with the September with all of that. A lot of people say a lot of things, and there are a lot of the things the conspiracy theory does not have to back it up that I have questions about.
Now, I just have questions in general. I am neither for or against it, right?
Yeah.
But there are some things that lean for it. There are some things that lean against it.
Mm-hmm. Well, my big question is because they also said the same thing about the Titanic. Like, oh, why they did it for the
Well, they had stops. They had to get off at certain
But here's
stops.
the thing about the Titanic. Everything that they say, oh, this happened, none of that happened. The actual insurance on the Titanic was worth less than the Titanic. And the people that said, oh, they pulled out one of the guys they said pulled out last minute, like, no, he had a trip that he had planned for months to go to an entirely different country.
Yes.
And it wouldn't have made sense for him to be there in the first place. He never even had a ticket. And a lot of the people that said, oh, why were these big important people not there? And these big important people, and it's half the people they said that were on there. And some of them they said were on there, they weren't there. Like, it was...
It's backwards, yes.
Yeah, and
people just don't know the facts. People just don't know the facts.
Yeah.
Now, speculation. That's all we can do here. That's all we do. With the whole 9/11 thing, it's kind of weird that you pull a terrorist policy out right before a terrorist attack happens, right? That's a red flag, right? It's also kind of weird that the part of the Pentagon that gets blown up is the part that collects all these records. It's also kind of weird that the owner and none of his family showed up to work that day on 9/11. And those are recorded facts. It's just a little weird. Now, I'm not saying that Iraq didn't do it. But I am saying it could be a bigger ploy than just thinking Iraq did it against us. Because they hate us. Because after that, what did we get enacted? You know it. You know the answer. TSA.
Everything was much more secure. Well, they had also, before, people could just hijack a plane. Like, the policy was, hey, if you just do it, and even at the time that happened, policy was, don't challenge them. And then everybody gets out safe. They weren't thinking, oh, they're going to ram this thing into a building. That wasn't even a concept. Like, up until that point, the idea was that everybody sits down and stays quiet. Everybody gets out alive because all they want is money.
But again, it goes back to a couple episodes ago. Like I said, you put the people in fear and they listen.
Yes, but
it can go the same way with, like, blindly accepting something because it's been jokingly put in front of your face. You know what I'm saying? Like, with the whole, you could do 1984, you could do Animal Farm, you could do the movie They Live, I think is what it's called, where the guy puts on the shades and he starts seeing what it really means. Those movies, I mean, The Matrix, it's putting it right in front of your face in a joking way. And if they put it out and they actually do it, they're like, oh, well, we put it in front of your face. You were laughing about it. We thought it's blindly accepting. And that's something that I don't want to see for the United States.
Yes. But at the same time, like, people also, my opinion, like, people read way too much into stuff. Like, there are such things as coincidences.
There is. There is. I'm not saying there's not.
And I also think that a lot of the times when people look up information, like, they'll watch a YouTube video, they'll watch a TikTok or something where somebody's, oh, it's this, and they'll talk about the conspiracy and stuff. But then they don't go and actually look up where they got the information. Like, where did they
Oh yeah,
find their information?
I like to go in. I like to go in by myself. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I don't like to just go off one thing. That's big no.
Mhm.
I'm gonna look up for myself and figure out my own conclusions.
Yeah.
Now I might mention something that I saw, which led me to this, but that's not the same thing. That's not going.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw this video and it means this.
No, it's like I saw this video. It kind of mentioned this thing.
So I looked into it and I found
so
this
I'm
out.
curious, yeah.
But moving on,
Mm-hmm.
and this is to something that I heard Jordan Peterson say actually.
Yeah.
He had mentioned a lot of the in the black community accidental inbreeding.
Mm-hmm.
You heard about that?
I think the first time I heard it was from you.
Okay.
So
It seems to
so
happen.
you're the one that you know more about this than I do.
So like, it's just because I listen to Jordan Peterson a lot of Neil deGrasse Tyson, but
Yeah.
Joe Rogan even he's pretty funny. Alex Jones.
Yeah.
That's
You listen to Alex if you want sheer just absolute insanity.
Alex Jones
Alex
is your
Jones.
guy. That's
Yes.
your guy.
Yelling, screaming, pulling out every little fabric of space. Narnia is real. Like he's the guy that will shout
He
it.
never said anything like that. But
No, not that bad, but
he's been right a couple times. He's been right more than a couple times. I gotta say.
Normally he's half right. Because he'll get some things right, but it won't actually
Because
be the truth about
we're
it.
doing, he's kind of just speculating on it. He's like,
Yeah.
this is what I know. This is what I think. This is what I think to do. You know, this is what I'm trying to piece. These are my dots that I've connected, not these are the dots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But with the accidental inbreeding, that comes with the fact of like back we'll go just say 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
A lot of the black communities were raising kids that didn't know their fathers.
Mhm.
Right? And this father could have kids by multiple different women.
Mhm.
All right, well if you keep doing that in highly populated areas and you keep adding to the population more and more,
Mhm.
it creates the chance that you will marry your cousin.
Yeah.
All right, well then it contributes to the fact that they now have problems giving birth. They
Mhm.
now have problems
But that like the old royalty, like in Europe and all that. That's why you end up with things like the Habsburg jaw.
yes, and like the what's the sickle cell disease.
Mhm.
Yeah, and anemia even can come from that. But like it just and it lowers the IQ. It starts because you're breeding within a family,
Mhm.
and it's getting on the borderline of incest, but it's accidental because they don't know.
Yeah.
So I think that could be a bigger problem. I hope that it doesn't get worse.
Mhm.
I mean, that even happens. It's not even just with the black communities. I mean, it happens in white communities too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you start hearing ding 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 ding, and you need to run. We're not in Deliverance, okay? He tells you you don't need to be in these mountains, boy. That's a fact.
Got the uncle brother cousin disease.
That's my Uncle Daddy over there. That's bad.
Oh boy.
But I mean, it's something that could potentially cause risks for the future because we don't know what the future holds.
Yeah.
I know that there will be a huge technological boom with AI. That's coming.
Mhm.
Like, there's a lot of things that we have developed over the years have came to a plateau.
Yeah.
But computers, it's at a steady incline.
Yeah. They have been for a long time. And it's
Right.
because you can then use the technology you built
To
to figure
build
out how to build
better
technology.
Yes. And that's when it comes to a certain point. But a lot of things are just plateaued.
Mhm.
Like a lot of manufacturing,
Mhm.
it's just straight line. It's the same way. There's not a better way to do it. And it just could be nobody's put thought into doing it.
Well, even because then you also get to the point where you can use like computers and AI to figure out a way past that plateau.
Now, what jobs do you think AI would take out?
I don't think AI will ever completely replace jobs.
I think if you can put a person through school and make them do a job, I think you can program an AI to make them do a job. But
yes,
they already have the whole AI McDonald's store. It's nothing but AIs. It's robots.
Mm-hmm.
Working perfectly fine. They have a coffee shop. I want to say, I heard this on the radio. Actually, there's a coffee shop that has robot baristas, and they're asking for tips. How would you feel?
Now, here's the thing: is it the type of place where the tips don't actually go to the AI, they actually go back to the business? Because yes, they may ask for tips, but because they've been programmed to ask for tips, because then the company gets those tips.
They say it's to go to maintenance, but it's probably going in the guy's pocket, man. It's cash.
Yeah.
I wouldn't tip a robot. I would not.
Yeah.
It's not.
I mean,
the reason I tip is to help the people because that's what they're living off of. These robots are living off power.
what sucks is that's not even the case in every place. Like there are some places that if a waitress gets tips, it all goes.
It has to go back to the owner.
And all goes ridiculous. Into a collective thing, and then they're giving it out.
That happens in casinos.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have to pull their money together and split it out. Now if like this dealer made $200 that night and this dealer made $1,400, how's that fair? He's a better dealer than him. He has more social skills. It could be her. I mean, there's dealers in casinos.
Yeah, because it all boils down to skill, and I think you're never going to be able to. You can program an AI to do something. You can program an AI to be kind of skilled at something, but without human oversight, it's eventually going to fall apart. Like it'll only work up to a certain point. It takes someone who knows something about the skill you're trying to program to actually be able to program it in the first place. And if you get to the point where you're programming off of a program, it's like, oh, well, it has this thing that can do this. If you start programming off of a program with no update on like outside, you get to the point if there's a tiny mistake, it explodes later. That's like when you're building a house. If your cornerstone is off by a little bit, say it's off by like this, that's it. The entire house is going to be leaning like this.
Yeah.
Once you get to the other end, the same kind of thing. And it's like if you've ever like taken a sheet of paper and you've copied it a bunch of times and you copy the copy, and every time you copy the copy, it progressively gets worse and worse and worse. And I think it's the same kind of thing with AI. Unless you are updating it and keeping it and have input from people who know the field and know what they're doing, saying, hey, it messed up on this or this or this, those small mistakes will keep ballooning until you get to the point where now you have to basically scrap the whole thing and start over from the beginning to actually fix it.
That makes sense.
So,
that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's why I say I don't think it's never going to be able to replace it, but I think it will be able to assist.
All right. I mean, that's a good view.
Mm-hmm.
We're moving to a lighter topic, all right? I mean, maybe a little bit lighter. There's beef, all right? This is in the music industry.
Yes.
There's beef.
I have heard of this.
All right. So between Kendrick and J. Cole, all right? So J. Cole, I mean, he been in the game. He made his money. He's living. He's living right now.
Mm-hmm.
Good rapper. Good lyrically. That's more what I mean. And I mean, and then,
but does he feel like a rap god? Rap god.
I mean, probably not, because that's Eminem's thing. But now Kendrick's trying to diss him. All right, now Kendrick, I don't really know Kendrick all that well. I'm not on anybody's side, but I am waiting for J. Cole to respond.
Yeah.
Because I am waiting to hear the lyrical genius behind this. Because what he cooks up in his house, in his studio, whatever, it's fire. It's real.
Cooking with grease.
Oh, he cooking with the Crisco, baby. He whip it up.
Get the spatula, you know. I wonder if rap, like once you get to a certain point, the rapper just stands there like socks with the slides. And then it's kind of like, you know, like the dad thing where they're like socks and sandals and they're at the grill. You know it's going to give you some real good food.
That's how they are.
Yeah.
They walk into the studio with the slides and they're like, hey, yo, spin that beat. And they go in.
Yep. And they just start. Once you get that level of experience, once you get to that point.
Yeah. It's like the basketball players that you don't see them wearing their shoes when they go into the studio or into the court.
Mm-hmm.
They put them on once they get to the court.
Yep.
That's how the mentality. That's how the rappers are gotta be.
Yeah.
That's how they gotta be.
Yeah.
They step into the studio and it's mentality.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even Queen was like that.
Oh yeah.
Freddie Mercury, man, he wanted every sound. The Beach Boys, he wanted the vocals perfect.
Yeah, but what's crazy about with Queen is they had to invent sound effects that had never been done before.
The cymbal, the gong thing
Yeah.
for Bohemian Rhapsody.
Mm-hmm.
Who does that?
And I think for some of the sounds, they actually took coins and dropped them on a snare drum. For some of the sounds. And it's like
his sound, he didn't know. He just knew what he needed and he knew how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
That,
he figured out how to make it happen.
That's admirable. That's different, man. That's built different.
He's built tough. We're tough. Sorry.
Have you ever been beaten with him? That's how it feels to drive a Ford F-150.
Ford, don't hate us. We can't handle lawsuit.
Found on road dead. Fixed or repaired daily.
Have you
Effed on race day.
There's one. First on race day.
I know.
Fixed or repaired daily. Found on road dead.
Flipped
Well,
over
there's
road
one that I
dead.
heard. It's like Ford has a new program, and it's that
To make their Mustangs
well,
look like an SUV.
with every new Ford vehicle they sell, they give you a free puppy. So like when you break down, you have a companion with you.
That's good. They need to put just a whole nother engine in there.
No, Chevy 350. Bam, problem solved.
Yeah. 354 Bow Main.
Or 454 if you really want to,
You want to do some damage.
I don't think a 454 would fit in a Ford body.
Now, what type of Ford are we talking here? Because probably it might fit in like a Mustang.
Yeah.
But
If
if you're talking like...
you do something stupid, like Josh, let's put a turbo in a 1.8 Ford.
It's 1.8 liters, man. It's no.
If you end up saying this, Josh, we love you. You know who we're talking about. But that little car, I don't
just because it's a manual.
Do you care about the car? I don't even know if he cares as much about the car because
obviously if he wants to put a turbo on it, no.
He's like, hey, I've got this thing. Once it's paid for, let's tear it up. Let's have the engine fly apart spectacularly.
Let's put a good old eBay piston polarizer on it. I mean,
oh, the things that he has talked about doing with that car. I threatened at one point. I was like, look, dude, if you do that, I'm just going to take and strap wings to the front so they tilt just right so you get airborne.
You can't go that fast. Just because it makes airplane noises doesn't mean it's an airplane now.
Well, it's lightweight enough. Like, it's lightweight. And you put that kind of horsepower into it where it gets up to those speeds, you might as well fly.
If the S2000 can't fly, Josh is whatever.
Oh, I didn't say it was going to be there's nothing said about a beautiful flight. It will get airborne. The landing will not be pretty.
No, not at all. But also in the music industry.
Yeah. Good segue from talking about cars.
But also in the music industry, we got to get back to the topic.
I am bringing the ADHD to this program, and this is what it looks like. You're welcome.
I'm trying to stay on topic. Trying to keep it going. So, Diddy.
Yes. He uses substitution jutsu. And substituted himself with his kids.
So you know he's in the Caribbean right now.
Yeah.
He took it a step farther than R. Kelly. R. Kelly was just standing back and just yellow, and P. Diddy was like,
he actually disappeared. Like he actually threw a smoke bomb and disappeared.
Yeah. I mean, look, you know the Kesha song where it's like, wake up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy.
I have to double check my information. I think I heard that they ratted him out Like so many of the girls they ratted him out.
Oh yeah.
So he had the smoke screen. He had the perfect getaway, and somebody's like, "Hey, he's over here." Can you imagine putting in all that work to disappear, and somebody snitches, and you're like,
"Really,
on,
man? Really?"
Like,
Well, he might have been on the list.
Yeah.
Nah, he ain't been on the list. But in the song with Kesha, it's like you can hear him saying in the background, "Hey, little girl." It's a little sus there, buddy. It's a little sus. No hate on Diddy, but I mean, I've heard he makes good tequila, or funds a good tequila making company. But other than that,
don't know much about him.
Don't know much about him.
Yeah.
Really don't. Really not that popular. If he's on the list, he needs to come back to the United States so we can deal with him properly. along with all the other people on that list. That list is extensive. That flight log is mighty detailed.
Epstein Island. There's never been a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Stephen Hawking.
Oh,
Chill down over there.
Of course, you have to wonder. There are some people that probably they only traveled there like once, saw what was going on, were like, "Hey, I'm gonna just lay low, and I'm gonna get out of here because I don't need to be here."
That's like. Well, there's a video. I don't know where, but these people made it to Epstein Island.
Yeah.
They like swam to it. They were on another island and they paddled, put a boat out there and swam up to it and everything. And they were walking around it and everything. It didn't look sus, but it's probably all underground.
Yeah. Actually, no, it wasn't. I have a little bit of knowledge on this one. Everything was pretty much contained inside the house, and so unless you actually got into the house, you weren't really gonna see anything.
Okay, and that's what it was.
It wasn't explicit. It was one of those things that was there. It was like, there's suspiciously a lot of underage girls here. Like, why? And they're scantily dressed. What? Like, if you got into the house, you could look around and be like, okay, this is really sus. There's something more going on here. Like, you could catch on pretty quick. Like, there's something there right here. Something's not okay.
Have you seen the flight log?
I haven't, no,
okay.
But I have heard the list of names that I'm already...
Okay, aside from the names,
mm-hmm.
alright, they put no-name people on there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like one female, one male,
mm-hmm.
one or two females, however many it is.
Yeah.
And that right there raises a suspicion.
And a lot of them are like plus ones for somebody else, where it's like, oh, they blah, like some of them were.
Some of them, yes. But why can't they give their name? Like, Ghislaine Maxwell or something? I think her name was on there. I'm not gonna swear to it. Some senator, I think. And
there are a lot of people.
There's a name that I'm not gonna say because I might get killed.
There are a lot of people involved in that, and I think the biggest thing, I think what they're trying to do right now is a little bit of damage control, where it's like, okay, we need to make sure these people don't get murdered in the streets before we can prosecute.
And another thing that needs to happen in the United States, besides the whole list thing, we need to know where the money that the Fed is spending is going. Trump had that idea.
Yeah.
Where you audit the Fed, figure out where your money is going.
Yes, which does make actually a lot of sense. Like, know what's going on, know where everything
Absolutely.
is.
So now we kind of know what we're voting for. We just got people that are voting for people because of empty promises.
Yeah. Like,
we're gonna do so much for you, and then we don't do nothing for you. We do everything to keep you under our wing. But that's beside the fact. We're gonna end right here.
Yeah.
Squirrel over here. We got a question.
Squirrel.
We got a question.
Yes.
To ask you. I told you to make it up.
Oh yeah, you did, and I completely forgot to make up the question. But okay. So
on the spot, on the fly.
Alright, so a question I would probably ask is, what would be the best way that you could prepare for how would you prepare for something like, say, if there were a disaster to happen?
What kind of disaster?
If there were an economic disaster, what kind of ways?
Economic disaster.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
what ways can you safeguard yourself and safeguard your family? How would you? What would be?
Well, a lot of situations like that can get you in a Ruby Ridge situation. But we'll answer that next time. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.